The Musuku. We'll just wait for Felix. We lost him. Yeah, whether you buy 1 CD or 10 CD, or whether you buy 399, you get a bit more. So.
But the concern is that
they start the interview before we start the interview.
The concern is you only look at the people at the top, which can purchase.
That's not true.
That's
not true. Everybody gets 10% or 15% more. You get it. And you see, when people say, oh, this is what it was before, that's not true. Prices have not been increased in the last 6 months. So whatever prices you are paying before July 1st was what you paid for 8 years. And then now you get more. And when people say you have not reduced the price, I keep saying that it's simple mathematics. If you used to buy, let's just say, if you used to buy 10 gig for 100 CDs, if you used to buy 10 gig for 100 CDs, and now you get 15% more, it means that you get 11.5 gig. It meant that previously 1 gig was 10 CDs because we were paying 100 CDs for 10 gig. So it means, and we price data not at the bulk price, but per megabyte or per gigabyte. That's how we price data. So per gigabyte would have been 10 CDs per gigabyte if you were paying 100 CDs and getting 10 gig. Today, when you get 11.5 gig for the same 100 CDs, it means per gigabyte you're paying about 8.7 or 8.9 CDs, less than 9 Ghana CDs. So have the prices dropped or not? They have. The people who are attacking us, we know who they are.
Who are they?
Oh, yeah, no. And they are buying. Many of them did not buy data. They waited for 1st of July. They bought our updated data and they're using it to attack us. But that's the beauty of democracy. Yeah, more data. Now I'm funding at them.
Yeah, we should. Well.
Thank you so much.
These under the ministry, our friends from the media, fellow citizens. A very good morning to you. Let me take this opportunity to apologize for yesterday's mishap. There were a few things beyond our control, which we'll try and work on going forward. But as I promised, after I was appointed by His Excellency, every quarter the ministry will account on the work that we've done in the sector. And so this is our second brief for the second quarter of the year. I made a clear commitment when I assumed office to lead with transparency, to consult widely, and to ensure that no major policy decision will be taken without consulting the people and institutions that it affects. I also promised you that I'll keep you, the Ghanaian people, fully informed of the ministry's actions and direction. In that spirit of accountability and open governance, I'm here this morning to report on the progress we have made since our last press briefing in April. This update covers efforts and achievements across regulation, infrastructure, innovation, and digital inclusion under the Reset agenda. Under our ministerial initiatives, our work over the past quarter has been defined by purposeful action and strategic reforms. We have prioritized digital skills for young Ghanaians, reforms to modernize governance frameworks, and infrastructure expansion to support a secure and innovation-driven economy. The following initiative represents tangible progress towards a digital Ghana that leaves no one behind. 1. The 1 Million Coders Program was launched. The 1 Million Coders Program was officially launched on April 16, 2025 by His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama. The program was received with great enthusiasm, with the application portal receiving over 90,000 applications within 48 hours. To date, the pilot program has trained 859 young people across Accra, Kumasi, Sunyani, and Bolkotanga, of which more than 52% in the pilot program were women. We are on track to reach over 50,000 beneficiaries by the end of the year. And at this point, let me say that I've gotten the reports and the messages from several people who say they've applied and they've not heard. It's because we're doing a stock taking on the pilot program as we prepare to launch out in Q4, at the end of Q3, by end of Q3 and enter into Q4, the full program that will commence in at least 180 different constituencies across the country. Number 2, data cost reduction update. I'm pleased to confirm that the Data Cost Reduction Committee's mandate has yielded clear results. On July 1st, 2025, all mobile network operators implemented revised mobile data tariffs, significantly increasing data volumes at current price points, but effectively dropping the price of data. These adjustments followed detailed technical negotiations with the MNOs and reflect a consensus-based approach to digital affordability. This reform marks a major milestone in our commitment to make digital access affordable and equitable for all Ghanaians. Let me be clear, I made a promise to reduce the cost of data, and we have effectively achieved that starting on the 1st, 2 days ago. Let me once again salute the NCA and the management of the NCA for the work that they did with the ministry in ensuring that even challenges that we experienced on day 1 were quickly dealt with, and by yesterday, everybody on all 3 networks were able to buy the data. So once again to the NCA leadership, thank you very much. Under the new structure, mobile users now receive significantly more data for the same price as follows. On MTN, all mobile bundles, irrespective of price, have increased by 15%. Telecel and Airtel, all mobile bundles, irrespective of price, have increased by 10%. And then for the high-use bundles, especially used by those in the gig economy, those who do remote work, and those who are content creators, we have restored MTN's 399 Ghana CD bundle, which used to offer 92 gig to 214 gigabyte now. Telecel's 400 CD bundle now offers 250 gigabytes instead of 190 gigabytes, and Airtel Tigo is also offering 250 gigabytes in place of the 195 gigabyte previously offered. These reductions were the result of a broader reform package we introduced in Q1, which included a spectrum review that freed up additional bandwidth to reduce congestion and tower operator costs, new licensing conditions that tied spectrum awards to consumer pricing commitments, and thirdly, direct regulatory engagement with telcos, which led to consensus on fair pricing aligned with global affordability benchmarks. Let me be clear, the ministry is engaged with the International Telecoms Union on further studies on the cost of data vis-a-vis the earning power of Ghanaians. And when that study is completed, we'll share the findings with the MNOs, and if it warrants further price reductions, we will achieve and demand same for the Ghanaian people. Furthermore, all 3 major mobile network operators have agreed to invest a combined $150 million into their networks by the end of 2025 to improve service quality, reliability, and resilience. Enforcement of service quality benchmarks have been mandated to the NCA, with ongoing monitoring started already by the regulator. Our goal is to ensure that data is not a luxury, but a utility. It is accessible and affordable to every Ghanaian. As we accelerate our digital transformation agenda, no one should be left behind because of cost. We call on the private sector, civil society, and the public to support this shift. And please, feel free to hold me accountable for delivery. 3, legislative review and update. A central priority of my tenure is to modernize Ghana's ICT legal framework in line with international standards. And to that end, the ministry initiated a comprehensive internal review of all existing ICT laws, policies, and guidelines in Q1 2025. The review is now complete, and we have initiated a process of drafting 15 new technology laws, including the Data Protection Amendment Bill, the Cybersecurity Regulations, the Ghana Startup Act, the Digital ID Regulation, and new frameworks on AI, cloud services, digital trade, and platform governance. The ministry will work closely with Parliament in completing the processes for these legislative reforms, which will 1, modernize Ghana's ICT legal architecture to reflect today's digital realities, 2, secure Ghana's digital ecosystem while upholding inclusion and fundamental rights, and 3, foster a trusted regulatory environment that attracts investments, and drives innovation. 4. The Ghana Startups Bill submission. The ministry continues to make strong progress on the Ghana Innovation and Startup Bill. The draft bill submitted in March 2025 has since undergone extensive stakeholder validation through committee level, zonal and national consultations, confirming broad consensus on its key provisions. The bill is currently in the legal drafting phase and under final review by a law firm working closely with ecosystem stakeholders. It's currently undergoing due process, which will include the submission to Cabinet and Parliament with the aim of securing passage by December 2025. Once passed, this law will provide legal clarity and registration for startups. It will provide tax incentives and targeted reliefs for startups and a streamlined compliance framework for innovation-led firms. Ghana's advancement on this legislation sends a clear signal to local and international investors. We're building a competitive, investor-ready digital economy driven by local entrepreneurship and innovation. In line with our vision, the ministry is proud to announce that Ghana has been chosen to host the 2025 Global Entrepreneurship Festival. This event, which attracts over 10,000 people in person from over 70 countries with over 100 exhibitors, will happen over a 3-day period in November. It brings into the country venture capitalists, angel investors, and captains of industry to partner the brightest innovators and startups in our country. 5. The National Anti-Misinformation Bill. To protect the integrity of Ghana's digital information ecosystem, the ministry is making steady progress on advancing the National Misinformation and Disinformation Bill. This draft legislation is designed to strengthen legal safeguards against the deliberate creation and spread of false or harmful digital content. It will provide a clear legal framework for enforcement, enabling statutory bodies to act decisively while upholding freedoms of expression. The bill is set to be presented to Parliament for review in its upcoming session and reflects the ministry's commitments to ensuring accountability, fostering trustworthy public discourse, and promoting digital literacy without compromising democratic values. And let me be clear, we will not clamp down on the freedom of expression. That will be respected. However, when your rights to free expression end, your duty not to misinform begins. 6. A national AI strategy consultation. On April 15th and again on the 23rd to 24th of April, the ministry convened inclusive stakeholder forums in partnership with key strategic allies, including the KNUST's Responsible AI Lab, the British High Commission, and GIZ's Fair Forward. These high-level consultations brought together government agencies, academia, industry leaders, civil society organizations, and development partners to co-create Ghana's national AI strategy. The draft strategy, which aligns with the AU standards and global best practices, has completed legal review and is slated for cabinet presentation with a formal launch in Q3 2025. These steps reinforce our commitment to building an ethical, inclusive, secure, and innovation-driven AI ecosystem that positions Ghana as the premier AI hub of Africa by 2028. The ministry is also working on a new emerging technologies legislation to steer a clear path and indicate our desire as a nation to be a major contributor on the continent in emerging technologies such as AI, IoT, blockchain, and machine learning. And on this, you remember that in Q2, we signed a $1 billion deal with the government of UAE to bring in Africa's biggest AI and innovation hub into the country. Work is steadily progressing on that project. 7. The development of the National Digital Transformation and Emerging Tech Strategy. On May 2nd, 2025, I formally unveiled the development of Ghana's National Digital Transformation and Emerging Technology Strategy with a strong emphasis on artificial intelligence. This initiative, crafted in partnership with UNESCO and the British High Commission, establishes a clear roadmap for ethical, inclusive, and sovereignty-conscious integration of AI and emerging technologies into our economic and social frameworks. The key strategic pillars include ethical integration of AI, digital sovereignty, strategic partnerships, and embedding human capital. This strategy remains on schedule for release in Q3 2025. 8. the NGIC 5G rollout deadline. The Next Generation Infrastructure Company, NGIC, our exclusive shared neutral 4G, 5G infrastructure provider, is progressing steadily towards its target of activating over 350 5G-ready cell sites. At my last briefing, I indicated that we had set a deadline of June 2025. Unfortunately, the company has been unable to meet that deadline. We have set a final deadline of Q4 2025, where at least 50 live 5G sites are expected in Accra and Kumasi. As of today, 3rd July, NGIC has deployed 16 5G-ready sites and received full NCA approval for its core network infrastructure. These milestones reflect meaningful progress following earlier delays in 2024. But let me be clear, we have agreed with NGIC that there will be no further extensions to this rollout deadline. If the company fails to meet the Q4 deadline commitment, the ministry will immediately initiate a review and possible renegotiation of the license term. The NCA is fully mandated to enforce this directive. The national rollout model is a deliberate policy shift to reduce infrastructure duplication, lower data costs, and accelerate universal 5G access for all Ghanaians. We're working closely with NGIC to ensure transparency, efficiency, and customer value at every stage. 9. Ghana.gov. The Ghana.gov platform is undergoing comprehensive re-engineering led by the Ministry and the National Information Technology Agency, NITA, to modernize citizen interaction with government. The redesigned site, which would launch in Q4 after a public tender, will feature significantly faster access, full Ghana card integration, and an intuitive, streamlined interface tailored for both individuals and businesses. This upgraded portal will enhance transparency, convenience, and reliability in accessing government services. We intend to put 16,000 government services on that platform. 10. The Girls in ICT Initiative. The ministry scaled the 2025 Girls in ICT Initiative across the Volta, Upper East, and Upper West regions as part of this effort to close the gender gap in digital skills. In June, 1,000 girls from 18 districts in the Volta region completed a 3-week practical training program covering web development, game animation, cybersecurity, and coding, equipping them with relevant tools for Ghana's digital economy. The top 100 performers received laptops and excellence awards, and 10 teachers were awarded with laptops for their dedication. To further incentivize excellence and healthy competition, the top 3 performers were awarded cash prizes. The ministry also plans to establish fully equipped ICT labs in the schools of the top 3 performers to ensure continuity and sustainability. Also under the Girls in ICT initiative, I conducted a tour of Girls in ICT training centers across the Volta region in mid-June. This visit underscored the ministry's commitment to closing the gender gap in tech and ensuring equitable access to digital skills for young women beyond Accra. I keep saying Ghana is not Accra. Engagements with trainers and students highlighted the effectiveness of hands-on ICT education in empowering girls and promoting digital inclusion at the regional level. The Girls in ICT initiative reinforces our inclusive digital transformation agenda by investing in the next generation of female tech leaders and ensures that digital opportunities are genuinely national. We look forward to the Upper East and Upper West programs, where we're headed next. 11. The Smart Workplace. The National Information Technology Agency, NITA, has finalized a significant refresh of the Smart Workplace digital platform used by MDAs. This upgraded system now supports seamless e-cabinet memos, interagency collaboration, scheduling, and more. Over 25 MDAs are now actively using the enhanced platform. Broad-based rollout continues, with over 300 government organizations, including local assemblies and health services, now using the platform for virtual collaboration and document management. This upgrade strengthens our governance capabilities, reduces paper-based processes, and delivers greater operational efficiency across government. 12. Engagements to enable full PayPal access in Ghana. The ministry has formally reopened engagements with PayPal to ensure full access to its service for Ghanaian users. As of June 2025, PayPal's regional government relations team has issued Ghana a compliance roadmap outlining the technical, regulatory, and financial standards required for whitelist reinstatement. The ministry is working closely with the Bank of Ghana and other key stakeholders to fulfill these conditions and to ensure PayPal also meets the necessary requirements to operate in Ghana. In line with this, I was on a call with the governor of the Bank of Ghana yesterday, trying to streamline all the regulatory issues, and I'm sure that in the next couple of weeks, before I do my next quarterly briefing, I should have good news on PayPal integration in Ghana. TikTok engagement. As part of efforts to promote a safe, vibrant, and inclusive digital creative economy, I met with TikTok's West African Government Relations team on the 26th of June. Our discussions focused on enforcing age restrictions, safeguarding minors, and promoting responsible content development. And at this point, let me just pause and say that I'm deeply concerned about some of the content on TikTok. Life, sex, and explicit material on TikTok is completely unacceptable and against our culture and our norms. And those were parts of the conversation I held with TikTok's team to have content moderation in country. But the cybersecurity authorities mandated to do constant surveillance of TikTok platforms and accounts in country that are engaged in content that is anti our culture and not appropriate, and work with the platform operator to take down those accounts and block the owners of those accounts from operating on those platforms. The ministry also welcomed TikTok's introduction of a STEM-focused content feed and encouraged stronger alignment with national programs, particularly the 1 Million Coders Initiative. I also urged TikTok to ensure fair compensation for Ghana's content creators, and I proposed the establishment of a local moderation and content governance team to reflect Ghana's values, our culture, and protect user rights and support national regulatory expectations. Number 14, our engagement with MultiChoice Ghana on subscription pricing. Last week, I invited the senior leadership of MultiChoice Ghana to a formal dialogue on DSTV's subscription pricing in Ghana. The meeting addressed public concerns about affordability, value for money, and fairness in service delivery. I made it clear the ministry's expectation that pricing structures must be responsive to Ghana's economic context. I have a meeting scheduled for tomorrow, Friday, even though it's a public holiday, with the Ghana team and their South African counterparts, the management from South Africa. They arrived tonight to agree on a way forward on the issues raised. The outcomes will be shared with the public in due course. This engagement reflects our commitment to regulatory accountability and our resolve to ensure that digital services in Ghana remain fair, accessible, and responsive to the needs of citizens. I make you one promise. I won't leave tomorrow's meeting without securing a drop in the pricing of DSTV. That is the solar promise I make. 15, stakeholder engagements. The ministry continues to place stakeholder engagements at the center of policy and program implementation. These engagements are essential to shaping responsive policy, unlocking investment, and ensuring inclusive national participation in our digital transformation agenda. To buttress this, I have engaged in quarterly industry engagements which have been institutionalized between the telecom CEOs, infrastructure providers, and the regulator. We've also embarked on ministerial ecosystem tours where we visited companies like Shack Express, IT Consortium, Apps and Mobile, Grow4Me, and a number of other local innovators. These engagements offered a platform for feedback and collaboration, and they reinforced our commitment to policy clarity, investment incentives, and infrastructure support. I've also embarked on regional innovation promotions when in May I addressed the MEPSIS 2025 Summit in Kumasi under the Menshia Trust Fund, which focused on motion technology, smart media, and creative entrepreneurship. This platform allowed us to showcase government-backed digital initiatives outside of Accra, promoting regional innovation and ensuring nationwide inclusion in Ghana's digital growth. 16, strategic partnership for skills and sector reform. The ministry continues to leverage public-private and bilateral partnerships to expand digital opportunities, attract investment, and catalyze structural reforms across the ICT sector. In line with this, a major realignment in Ghana's telecom sector is underway with conversations around the planned acquisition of 60% stake in AT Ghana. An MOU was signed, and the ministry is closely working with all relevant regulatory bodies to ensure full compliance. I gave them 60 days to complete that. They have 24 days. If they do not complete in 24 days, I will reopen it up for new opportunities and options. On youth skills development collaborations, we've had strategic partnerships to train expertise in cloud computing, AI, and software development, particularly under our 1 million coders program. And these efforts are being supported by both private sector firms and international training partners, reinforcing Ghana's human capital base for the digital economy. With MTN, we have signed an MOU on AI and skills. This MOU will see MTN Ghana co-develop a national AI innovation center. The agreement also commits funding towards training 5,000 young Ghanaians in AI and related digital skills over the next 18 months. This partnership strengthens Ghana's institutional and workforce readiness for AI adoption. The Ghana UAE Innovation Hub is what I spoke about already, the $1 billion innovation hub. Work is ongoing, and we expect construction to begin in Q1 2026. As we speak, the pre-project management office modalities are underway. Strategic partnership with the University of Ghana is also ongoing, as we have asked the University of Ghana to sign an MOU with the UNDP on behalf of the ministry to execute our digital youth village. This partnership will see the co-creation of digital skills programs, support for AI hackathons, and curricular alignment under the 1 Million Coders Initiative. It represents a deliberate move to prepare students for the evolving demands of Ghana's digital economy. Together, these engagements and partnerships reflect our commitment to a participatory, inclusive approach to digital governance, where partnership fuels progress and innovation is made truly national. Now, this brings me to an end of the ministry, the headquarters, our work. I'll now take you to what the agencies have been doing. The NCA which is the National Communications Authority, has advanced major reforms across the sector to promote efficient spectrum use, safeguard national security, and enhance service delivery. And some of these steps we're taking include spectrum efficiency and regulatory reform, broader frequency monitoring and coordination, and most importantly, our preparation for the 2027 World Radio Communications Conference, which will hold from the conference from the 6th, and the NCA has held its first preparatory meeting from the 6th to the 8th of May this year. The meeting reviewed proposed conference agenda items and established a framework for coordinating Ghana's position and participation in the ECOWAS and Africa preparatory meetings towards the conference. The NCA has also worked on receiver standards and licensing. We've also worked on satellite and radio determination services in Ghana, where 5 operators have received satellite service licenses with provisional authorizations issued to 2 more entities. These authorizations are intended to support partnerships to deliver collaborative services, including smart agricultural services, IoT services, tracking and monitoring systems, and backhaul connectivity. A national spectrum policy is currently being developed to provide for efficient and equitable use of spectrum to meet government's growing spectrum demand. The NCA is also promoting amateur radio stations to build local expertise and resilience in communication. The authority says they aim to set up a model amateur radio station on its premises to support this. And so for those of you who want to become amateur radio station operators, you should visit the NCA and explore what they're doing. SIM registration. In my last update, I indicated that we're looking to start SIM registration on the 1st of July. The NCA has implemented the overhaul of the entire SIM registration and structured it into 3 key phases. Phase 1 will be the biometric validation and data cleanup. Phase 2 is going to be the controlled new registrations, and Phase 3 will be business SIM verification and deactivation of non-compliant records. I'm minded by the fact that the last time an airline was put together for the registration of SIM cards was sometime in 2010. And that airline is no longer fit for purpose. And so the NCA and the ministry are working together to submit a new LI to guide the SIM registration process. I want everything we do at the ministry to be backed by law. And so we'll go back to Parliament, lay the LI, and once it is matured, we will then roll out the SIM registration. But rest assured, this SIM registration will be like none you've ever seen. There will be no queues, there will be no loss of man hours. You will do it electronically, you get the message, and that's the work that the NCA is currently doing. It's about 80% complete in terms of the biometric data cleanup. Because we hold a lot of biometric data, and so there is no need for you to come back and resubmit that data. If we can access that data, clean it, and match it with you. And so a lot of work is going on in there, and I'm sure that before the end of Q3, we'll be in a position to officially announce the start, public start of the SIM registration. Along with the SIM registration, we're doing a central equipment identity register. Now, this initiative is being implemented to monitor, identify, and block stolen and counterfeit devices to disincentivize device theft. The system will have secure API and web interfaces for integration with the SIM registration systems of the telcos, GRA's custom systems, and the NCA's type approval and dealership registry. Implementation is currently ongoing, and that will tie hand in hand in synchronization with the SIM registration. On regional connectivity, what we call ECOWAS roaming, Ghana's bilateral roaming service is now live with Cote d'Ivoire, Togo, and Benin. What this means is if you were to travel from Ghana to Cote d'Ivoire or to Togo and Benin, you would pay the rates that the locals in that country pay. So you're not going to be paying like a huge roaming cost because there's a lot of traffic between Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire, Ghana and Togo, and Ghana and Benin. Testing is ongoing with the Gambia. It's complete actually with the Gambia, and we're in advanced talk with Nigeria to go live before the end of 2025. This initiative will lower roaming costs and boost regional integration. On telecom emergencies and licensing frameworks, the National Telecommunications Emergency Plan is complete. It will ensure that emergency communications for responders work even when commercial networks fail. We're doing new and revised licenses in development for communication managed services, internet exchange points, submarine carriers, and communication dealerships. And on the internet exchange points, it's extremely important that Ghana continues to attract a lot more internet exchange points. Because when people talk about how fast their data goes, because it's one thing as giving more data, it's another thing about how fast the internet or the data bundles are used up. If you have more internet exchange points locally, what happens is when you make the request to view a web page or access an internet resource, the travel distance is shorter. So currently, most of our exchange points are sitting in London and in Portugal. So it means that when you try to access it, the travel distance, the amount of data used to go and hit the exchange points in Portugal or London before it comes back to Ghana means that there's more data consumed. If we have internet exchange points locally, the travel time is shorter. And I'm glad to announce that this evening, I'm going to be commissioning the London Internet Exchange Point in Accra, with opening a new exchange point here in Accra in partnership with Onyx. And the beauty of it is that it's not just going to be placed in Onyx as a primary data center, but it's also going to have backups in digital reality and one other data center. And we're trying to attract at least before end of the year 2 more internet exchange points so that we can be able to have the exchange points here locally, and the amount of data you need to access internet resources will be drastically reduced. 2, Cybersecurity Authority. The Cybersecurity Authority continues to advance Ghana's cybersecurity agenda through regulatory enforcement, citizen protection, international cooperation, and digital resilience. They have engaged in threat monitoring and protection initiatives. They've worked on cybercrime and incident reporting. They've worked on child online protection and awareness campaigns. Under the child online protection and awareness campaigns, over 55,000 young people have been directly reached with safety education. Preparation is underway as we speak for the 2025 edition of the National Cybersecurity Challenge, which will target 100 senior high schools, and then the annual National Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October will target over 6 million Ghanaians under the theme Building a Safe, Informed, and Accountable Digital Space. Under licensing, regulation, and institutional frameworks, the CSA has registered 326 cybersecurity providers, 1,821 cybersecurity professionals, and 87 cybersecurity establishments. We're operationalizing sectoral sets in energy, health, education, transport, and the military. On international cooperation and global leadership, Ghana, represented by the CSA, co-chairs the ICRC ICT workstream on upholding international humanitarian law alongside Luxembourg, Mexico, and Switzerland. Ghana is now a signatory to the Pall Mall Process Draft Code of Practice for States, and the CSA was selected by the University of Oxford's Global Cybersecurity Capacity Center to pilot its AI cybersecurity readiness metric as a Tier 1 country. Ghana has also actively participated in the Octopus Conference, the Glacis East Steering Committee, and ECOWAS Regional Cybersecurity Coordination Center feasibility study. Now, law enforcement. And I want you to pay very close attention to this, because most people do not realize that the Cybersecurity Authority has a law enforcement mandate. It's one of the key things we have enhanced and will continue to do a lot of work in. The CSA has stepped up its law enforcement mandates in the last 5 months. We have conducted a number of operations in conjunction with the Ghana Police Service and the National Intelligence Bureau. A number of individuals have been surveilled, arrested, and prosecuted successfully for crimes ranging from romance scams, child online sexual abuse material, unauthorized access into financial platforms, investment scams, sextortion, and recruitment fraud. In one instance, the CSA and the Ghana Immigration Service busted a pig butchering fraud hosting center at the Nyamidria Estates in Tema Community 26. Over 400 persons were arrested from 8 different nationalities. In that particular raid, we seized 4,000 mobile phones, 70 laptops, and 5 firearms. Tells you the level of crime that's ongoing in the country. Barely 3 weeks ago, the CSA, in another operation with the Ghana Police Service, busted a sophisticated recruitment fraud ring. After weeks of detailed surveillance, an operation was carried out with the Ghana Police Service in Sodakope, leading to the arrest of 11 suspects, including the gang leader of the group. The gang had extensive capabilities, including forging national identity documents. They are the cooler now, thanks to the work of the CSA. The CSA has also been on the forefront of clamping down on illegal financial flows and transfer of illicit funds through multi-agency corporations. Within days of my appointment as minister, we received requests from the FBI for assistance to locate and assist in the apprehension of 5 persons of interest who were alleged to be involved in cyber-related crimes with proceeds in excess of $105 million US. Meticulously identified the individuals using tools at our disposal and conducted weeks of surveillance, building critical evidence material for law enforcement to utilize in the extradition and prosecution processes. As of today, 4 of the 5 persons have been successfully apprehended, 3 have been extradited, and 1 is about to be extradited to the US by Interpol and the AG's office. We make a solemn pledge to make Ghana an uncomfortable place for persons engaged in acts that tarnish the global reputation of our nation. We have a number of active operations underway, and we will brief the nation once we complete same and arrests have been effected. It's one of the key things in our conversation with PayPal, the rising level of cyber fraud in our country and the illicit flow of funds. Working with the CSA, we'll clamp down on every one of them and hand them over to law enforcement to deal with them. The work of the CSA remains central to our national vision for a secure, trusted, and inclusive digital economy. As the threats evolve, so must our defenses. And Ghana is fully committed to strengthening its cyber resilience through smart regulation multi-sector partnership, and global best practices.